Hi and welcome back to MDriven. I'm gonna talk about these things today. First I'm gonna point out the old video that covers the basics for getting started with what we're gonna do today. So it's the fast CSS development, fast CSS dev, and this video simply goes through how you can set up MDriven Turnkey locally to have a complete local environment to develop against. It's great for doing front-end work. And what I want to do is to refresh the install from that video that I did, because there are new things. So this you want to do quite now and then, now and again. So you download the turnkey zip file again and open when done. And once you have it open, you go to the application folder and extract everything. And now the installation will replace everything that needs to be replaced, just all. So like that, now we have a fresh installation, and I want to open the designer, and I put the file right into where the server is. And of course I can I want to open the server with Visual Studio, like open website, turnkey test video, like that. And I want to verify that everything works. So I'm starting it in Chrome. There's some error. I'm not gonna go into this. Just gonna answer yes. This one is loading, and this is of course running IIS Express, and this is pretty much where we left off last time, so we can view all things. And open that thing, view one thing, and we have a grid here. And what I wanted to do today was create a new component by following the README, and I'm going to show you what I mean. And I want that component to be placed here in this grid. So going here, this is what I meant with following the README. There is a folder, ext components, and it has a README file. And the README file says, see this example. Okay. So in the Wiki site, it says in the turnkey web application you will find an ext components folder. In the ext components folder you can put subfolders. Each subfolder will constitute one component. The name of the folder is the component name. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is to add. I'm not allowed to create folders since the application runs, but I can do it if I open in File Explorer. I'm gonna add new folder, test 1, and in test 1 I'm gonna add an HTML just gonna go with Notepad, text document, and I'm gonna call it test1. CHATML, like that. HTML. Let's edit that and just paste in the things you see here. So, notice the use of test1 here. It is an Angular directive that defines in the JS further down. So, I'm gonna leave it like this. Save. I'm gonna add a CSS as well. New. Text document. Test1. CSS. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna edit it with Notepad. Just for now. I'm gonna copy that. Like that. And the JavaScript. New. Text document. Test1. JS. Yes. So what this does is declaring a function here and calling this function here. And what it does is asks Angular after the module method and asking it for giving the MDriven Angular app module. And that's sent in here, the streaming app controller. And in the streaming app controller we add a directive called test1. And test1 implements the link option. So the link option is what occurs when Angular binds HTML to data. So we get the scope and we get the element. And what we do is to create a new element, a canvas, and we take the element that we get in and append the canvas. So, and that's a very simple control. And the element we get in is of course this one. Div1 with a test, so it will be a canvas down here. Okay, heading back to Visual Studio. Oh, and doing like refresh folder. I can see that I have stuff here. Okay. And view all things. View one thing. And if I F12 this one, I can see that it has made use of the test1 X components. And it imports the script and the CSS. Okay. So what I want to do is this one, the tagged values. we need to tell MDriven to use our component test1 here. And how do you do that? Well, let's head back to the wiki. And it should say here, using the model. Use a component in MDriven Designer by setting UI override on the view model column and tagged value Angular X component. Like that. Add. Test1. Okay. So on this one I added a tag value that was the Angular X component test1. And what it also said was that I should probably add the content override to signal that this won't show normally, it will be overridden. Okay, and I just saved this because saving the model will trigger the local turnkey to refresh itself. Voila, and there we have the component. Right, so now we can let's see what the plan was. Create a new component by following the readme. So we have it. Extend the new component to have bouncing balls. Okay, so we need bouncing balls in here. Of course, bouncing balls JavaScript. I don't know, something like this maybe. I thought I saw one over at CodePen that I sort of favored. Bouncing balls. Yeah. Well, you get my point. There's a lot of bouncing balls out there. So and we need to look at it a bit, so I'm gonna open a notepad. What is similar with all these CodePens doing things like this is that they use a canvas and they begin path with an arc, fill it, and then they close the path and they update the position, etc. So this is more or less what we want to do. So let's see, I have a script here. Okay, I have it here. Bouncing balls. Like that. And also refresh folder. Like that. And this one. It might look a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same. It installs the directive for test1 and once we have the new canvas we create something we call a ballpark and send in the canvas and the scope, and then we keep all the ballparks in an array. And we also have this animate function that we call here. And the animate function loops over the ballparks and calls animate. And then it asks the window to call us back when it's time for another animation frame. So this will go round. And all this namespace, etc., it's extra since I wrote this in TypeScript instead of C#, instead of JavaScript. So let's see what happens when we create the ballpark. It's in this one. So there's a function in TypeScript. There's actually a class called ball, which has a draw function, and this draws one ball with updated position. And we have the ballpark, a class ballpark, that gets the canvas and the scope, and the canvas and the scope. And in the scope there will be a property data that will be a VM class object, and that is actually something that has this property, details. How come? Well, it's actually this one, details. So if we have named the view model details, it will be named details here. And then we can see if the length of the details, which will be a list, this list, if it differs from the one we saw last we were here. And it will at first. Then we clear all the existing balls and create new ones. So we get a new ball for each row in this grid, which isn't the grid anymore. Let's see if we can get that to work. So I'm gonna need to restart this to make it discover the new script. At start it will check the folder of your component. I don't know what the hell is doing. Like that. IIS Express is pulling our leg. Shut that down. So doing a hard reset of the IIS Express is sometimes needed to trigger the reload of new components. Like that. And what should happen if I add a detail? There's a new ball, like this. Add. So that's pretty cool. We can open another and watch them at the same time. Like that. Let's see what we had on the list. So we have done that, we have done that, we've done that, we've done that. Let the radius and color be part of the model. Yeah. So let's see, bouncing ball. How is it drawn? It takes the ball data and has a property called radius. And where's the color? The fill style, ball data, color. And this is written with a signs, radius and color. And let's head back to the model and just what we need to do is to have the detail to contain something like this is color, and let's add another one called this is radius, and make that an integer int, like that. And when we save, what we want to do is to add these two here, color, and this is radius. But this is what they are called in the model. What our component needs it to be named is radius, right? And this was color, and since JavaScript is type case sensitive, we need to have the exact same spelling. And when I've saved that and add back to this one and doing a refresh, I will see that, let's see, oops, well, I guess it's hard to see, but these little suckers have the same colors on the two because they're sharing the same model. Let's add a detail. That became green, but it wasn't, yeah. We're gonna add another item on the to-do list so we make the radius and color editable. So how would you do that? Well, we can take the detail and just copy and paste it, and we have a details copy, and we get some warnings because they occupy the same space. I'm gonna put this one below, like so. This is the copy, and that should not be content override. And in fact, it should not have the tagged value either. And if I just save that and hit refresh here, I can see that I have a grid down there. But let's go to the wiki and find out how we make that grid editable. Editable. Editing grid. Dum. Make these editable, yeah, and you do that by setting the editable tag value on this level. Okay, so adding back to MDriven design on that level, setting a tag value, add editable true, and closing save, going back, hitting refresh. Alright, So if I were to change this radius to 40, it's affecting the balls, and this one to 30, and I'm gonna make this one yellow. Copy, and that became yellow. And saving that. Let's see what happened to the other one. They're respecting what we said, but it still hasn't reloaded the view model because we haven't refreshed this page with that. So if I were to, oops, I just dropped that one. This one will disappear as it sinks right there. Yeah. So this is one way to do it. I'm gonna add a detail. Add. And as I do, they get random default values because that's what the script does. So, are we done? Are we done? Let the radius part of the model and make them editable. Yeah, so we're done. Okay, thank you for now.